Greetings, boys, ghouls, and non-biased scaries. I may have bungled the intro there. Now, with the fact that so many of us are unable to go outside, we may find us...
You're not audible.
When did I cut out?
Yeah.
Hello?
You're back.
When did I cut out?
You I bungled that intro and then silence.
Well, I already took my mic from the thing, so... He's off sulking in the corner. He's not going to be of any help.
Oh.
He had this whole thing about getting back to nature and all that. It was a thing. Anyway, I'm Llytic.
I'm Ichi-Tan.
The weird spider thing that is now sulking in my corner is... not entirely sure what he calls himself. I think he's watched too many Canadian horror shows for kids, honestly. Trying to go for that whole Crypt Keeper thing, but it's not really working for him. Anyway, welcome to the 2020 Spooptober Pastathon. We are continuing today with a look at a classic story, Ted the Caver. I've never read this one.
Spoopy.
But this dates back to 2001.
Oh, we getting it.
Yeah. We about to be getting something. I guess I'll start us off. This is done in a blog format, interestingly enough.
Ooh.
Like, if you look at this. But yeah. So, introduction. Due to an overwhelming number of requests I have received to tell about my discoveries and bizarre experiences in a cave not far from my home, I have created this webpage. I will outline the events that happened to me during the past few months, beginning with my journey into a familiar cave in December 2000 and ending, well, it actually hasn't ended yet. I will use my caving journal as the text to tell about my recent experiences. I will give them to you as I experience them in chronological order. You alright there?
My drink bubbled up my nose.
I was about to say, are you drinking again?
Yes.
Alcohol?
I've been drinking all day.
You've been getting crunk all day?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it's going to be less sexual than usual, then.
You thought.
For some reason, it seems to cancel out. I also just realized that your profile pic is Midoriya's mom.
Yeah, well, that's just because, in the group where we do Among Us... Yeah,
You started going by Mommy.
Yeah.
Shout out to that group.
And
Any of you are listening to this.
And I literally was only doing it because somebody decided to name themselves Dabby, and then we were like, oh, well, I guess we're married now, and then we were playing with some random people, just kind of letting randos in to troll them while we were talking on Discord, and some random person was like, hey, Daddy, a winky face. And the imposter was one of our group, and they were like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and kill that person just for you, and I was like, oh, thanks.
Oh, I guess at least they missed the whole joke about the mistress. Um,
Yeah, you're my mistress now.
I mean,
My
was
little
there ever
side
really any
piece.
doubt? Was there ever really any doubt?
No.
Anyway,
Uh,
it's your line.
oh.
I
I
have
have.
included.
Yes, I was reading that. I, I have included photographs that were taken during my many trips to the cave. I have also created a few illustrations to help the reader get a better idea of what things look like in the cave. All the photos were taken by me or one of the few people I went to the cave with.
I want to point out a few things before I tell about the events.
1. Most of the pictures were taken with a Kodak disposable type camera. Ooh, that brings back memories. I
Yeah.
took a better camera into the cave on one or two of the trips. Pictures on the site are all original photos and have not been messed with or enhanced, other than where noted. As a rule, I get my pictures put onto disk at the time of developing, so I don't have to scan them later. This ensures the best digital quality.
Alright, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking disposable cameras, though.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. That takes me back.
Right.
I will not reveal the names of the other people involved in this experience. If you know me well enough, you probably know them already. Makes sense.
Yeah. I will not reveal the location of the cave to anyone for any reason, so please don't ask. I refuse to be held accountable for anyone's life but my own. I will refer to the cave as Mystery Cave. That is not its real name.
And we
Ooh.
have intro. That and the whole thing earlier of him saying that he hasn't messed with any of the pictures.
Yeah. We're in for a treat.
Yeah. If you think these events sound far-fetched, I agree. I would come to the same conclusion had I not experienced them.
Let's see here. I will try to finish the site as soon as possible. Check the date on the main page to see when I've made updates.
Check something quick. Just want to make sure. Because I'd rather not have to deal with this sort of thing. So I'm gonna see something quick. Okay, there's different stuff of this already up. Okay. Oh, most of it's multi-part. Fucking hell. Alright. To protect myself from people who might want to copy this site, I include the following. All text on this and the following pages are my own and copyright 2001. Ted.
On to
The Discovery.
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 Oh, why did you have to do blue text? That's so hard to read.
I mean, it's easy. Okay, I find black on blue easier to read than black on white.
Oh, well, I just turned off my lamp and it made it easier, so I guess I'll be
Yeah.
reading this in the dark.
I mean, that's how I've been reading all this stuff in Spooptober during the Spooptober-thon.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense, but I'm also a little toasty, so I was trying not to scare the shit out of myself too bad. So I get scared very easily when I'm drunk.
Counterpoint, I'm drunk.
I scare very easily when I'm drunk. Like, I'm gonna be sitting here reading this, and one of the cats is gonna make a noise, and I'm probably just gonna piss myself screaming.
Well.
So, just a warning to anybody using headphones.
Cats might cause screaming.
Cats might cause screaming. Especially because they've been fucking with my bedroom door all night.
Ah, fun. You're on.
Okay. I will divide the text into 2 colors for the sake of clarity. The white text is taken directly from my caving journal. That sounds weird. The
Makes
italicized
sense.
blue text is my comment as I reflect on the experience. I will do my best to convey the thoughts and feelings I had during the entire event. I will not use the actual names of the other individuals involved. I will include the entire relevant text in my journal. Only small parts of the journal I will skip. This will only occur when the entry has nothing to do with the experience in the cave, such as eating dinner after a trip, getting fuel or snacks, irrelevant details, etc. My journal is fairly thorough. I will merely summarize what I am cutting out of the actual entry.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright. I see what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
In an effort to present this experience in as accurate light as possible, I will type my journal as I wrote it. Sans grammar check. Please overlook my errors. My additional comments will help to clarify things I wrote in my journal.
Okay. So, Caving Journal, 12/30/2000. B and I decided to get in one more caving trip before the new year, so we set our sights on Mystery Cave. Not a spectacular cave, but since neither of us had been caving in a while, it would be nice to go to any cave. There was a bit of excitement to this trip. There was a small passage in the lower portion of the cave that I wanted to check out to see if it was possible to get past it. It had a small opening, but lots of air blowing out of it. Even though it is way too small to climb through, I had never checked to see what was inside the passage. We got our gear loaded up and hit the road by 3 p.m. We got to the cave in great time, since B likes to drive fast. We anchored from the usual tree and began to rappel into the cave. I went down first and got my gear together while B came down.
No, no digs at anyone who does it. I've never really understood the appeal of caving.
I
I enjoy
used to
hiking, but
I used to want to explore caves until
yeah.
I saw this. And I will admit, it was a B-rated horror film, and it was on Netflix. And it was about these people that went into this area. I can't remember exactly where they were supposed to
Did
be.
you watch The Descent and that scared you away from caving?
No, I did not watch The Descent. It was called. Let me see if I can find it.
Or were you talking a different one? Because The Descent is like the big one that people think of when they think caving horror movies.
Oh no, it was not that.
That had these pale dudes just hanging out and underground and shit, eating people. Terrific.
It was on Netflix. It was not The Descent. Um, um, I can't remember what it was called, but basically it was like a B. I watched it on Netflix. And it's basically this B-rated horror movie. And what happened is these these it I'm sorry. I'm my brain is trying to.
Toasted?
Yeah. Anyways, it was on Netflix, and these college kids decide to go on this spring break trip, and I can't remember where they were, but they ended up going into this area that was literally closed off by the government, but no one knows why it was closed off. And they went with these locals, and while they're there, these chupacabra creatures that lived in caves were because they got trapped in a cave or something, were hunting them down and killing them, and it was absolutely terrifying. and it scared the shit out of me.
I just tried to
And I was
it. Of course,
completely
it did like the 8 best ones, so like that's not what I'm looking for.
Oh my god.
It's
Oh,
like
it's called Indigenous. Okay,
oh,
here's I found it. The overview is called, it says surfs up in Panama and 5 American pals are eager to take advantage of it while grabbing some jungleside fun in the process. But their pleasure trip turns to a terror ride when they come face to face with the blood-sucking beast Chupacabra. And here's the problem. There's not one of these creatures. There's like a whole fucking colony of them. And the and they're like white,
yeah,
hairless
I just looked up
demon baby. Oh my god.
That
And
looks so silly.
it scared the absolute shit out of me. I was complete. Okay, so the only time that an actual horror film, doesn't matter if it's a B-rated or like whatever, only time a horror film will actually, anything horror will actually scare the shit out of me is if I'm really, really sick or if I'm drunk. I was 100% sober and I was not sick, and that movie scared the shit out of me. I had nightmares for
What is with
weeks.
these things' tongues?
Oh
Like
my god.
I looked up pictures, and one of them is apparently just a recreation of that shot from Alien, like Alien 2 or like Aliens or
It
whatever
came
it
out
was.
it came out in
Yeah,
2014,
2014.
and
It's
the I mean, just even looking pictures of these guys is giving me like chills.
I there's something that's silly to me about how these things look because they got like these big goofy smiles, and
Yes, like I
apparently it's
said,
got a
they're
4.7. Oh wait, 4.7 out of 10. Okay, never mind.
yeah, it's
Uh, director is a man by the name of Alistair Orr.
like I said, they just like, and I think what the reason why they scare me so bad is when I was a small child, I had this reoccurring nightmare of a creature that looked very similar to those creatures, but it was like completely translucent, like it was made out of jelly,
Uh,
and it had like
delicious.
yellow. It had like glowing yellow eyes, and the way it would
Yeah.
get you is it would steal your eyeballs, and then you could just see the eyeballs of the other victims floating around in its body.
I think you've talked about this one before.
Yeah, because that thing legitimately scared me as a child, and then this movie brought back those memories. So I started having nightmares of the thing that scared me
Yeah.
as a child, plus those creatures. It was horrible.
I also
So yeah,
find it funny.
that is why I refuse to do anything with caves because of that movie. And here's the thing, like the acting and like the creatures, everything was such like badly done, like bad CGI
Yeah.
acting, everything, but it still scared the
Yeah.
absolute shit out of me.
I love how the trivia section, the first thing you see is like in the scene where Scott is entering the cave, a crewman can be seen in the top right corner.
Oh yeah. And like
Wearing a
here's
headlamp and moving their arm, they almost blend in with the background. Just moving their arm around and wearing a headlamp, almost. You know.
yeah, but you know, it's just like
That's the only bit of trivia!
yeah, that's literally it. And like the thing is like how the movie starts out, you're sitting there thinking like, oh, it can't be that scary, and then it I'm very, very ashamed to admit that that scared me.
uh,
But yeah,
anyway.
if you want to find the movie that made me shit my pants, there you go.
I
Watch at
mean,
your own risk.
sleep paralysis monster just like suddenly reminded me of like the explanation for like the fucking succubus and incubus was like sleep paralysis, like the whole sleep paralysis thing, which makes me wonder why these other people had like these people in the medieval era had sexy sleep paralysis monsters.
Whoop whoop.
One of the things that I found funny is just like the statement of like many people at the time would state that like succubi would force men to like perform cunnilingus. It's like, I guess only back then would oral be considered terrifying.
Well, I mean, considering how often they did not bathe, yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
True.
Because there are some people nowadays that I'm scared to perform cunnilingus on. Like, if you take off your pants and I'm punched in the face with that smell, we're done. I will not go anywhere near you.
If it smells like a fucking fishery, fair enough.
It smells like either fish, sweat, or piss. I'm out.
That last one especially.
Oh, yeah.
It smells like fucking ammonia. I am leaving. I will refer to B many times. We have been caving together for many months now. He was injured in a caving accident a few years ago and told me he would never walk. And was told he would never walk again. Through hard work and perseverance, he not only walks, but can get around very well in caves. Turns out his legs are weakened, but his upper body is strong as fuck, so he basically just crawls around like a giant man spider.
Ooh.
It's quite horrifying.
Let's see here.
The trickier part of a cave might slow him down a bit, but he can make it. He patiently works through an obstacle until he gets past it.
Alright, so here you go. As for reference to the small opening in the cave, there is a saying among cavers, if it blows, it goes.
What? I mean, same. I think that's my motto, too.
Right? Meaning, if a passage has a good flow of air, it's probably worth investigating. Oh my god, I just scared the shit out of myself.
If it blows, it goes to my house.
Yee.
Fucking hell.
I forgot what I changed my cursor to.
What did you change your cursor to?
You're about to see. So this is what it looks like when it's idle. And I just scared the shit out of myself.
Oop. Okay, it's loading. It's just Aizawa's head. Why are you swinging around Aizawa's decapitated head?
And then whenever
You
I click on
monster.
something, whenever I go to click on something, it's his hand holding his scarf.
Oh.
But yeah, I just had my cursor sitting idle on the picture, and I just see a decapitated head on the picture next to the glove.
Very small decapitated head. After we
What? That's your point.
Okay. After we explored all the usual passages, we climbed down to check out the hole. The hole is located deep in the cave. Very deep. Near the lowest part of the cave. It is on the side of a cave wall about 3 feet from the floor. To look inside the hole, I had to kneel down to duck under an overhang of rock. So that we can investigate the hole.
Oh god.
I don't know how that sounds. I'll be honest.
It was very loud and deep all of a sudden.
I mean, one of those is just normal for my voice. Think it's the reason you hang around me.
Yeah.
One of them.
One of them.
The other reason's my ass.
Yeah. Pretty good ass.
Yeah, we have a picture of a glove, I'm assuming stuffed in the hole.
Yeah, he apparently stuffed the glove in the hole.
I mean, they do make gloves for holes.
Yes, they do. So here we go. I used my backup mini mag light and held it inside the hole to see what I could see. I was excited for what I saw. The wall around the hole was about 3 to 5 inches thick. It led into a
Nice.
tight passage.
Nice.
The passage opened up just a bit inside the hole. It continued back about 10 to 12 feet into a small crawl space. After that, it seemed to really open up.
Nice.
Although, how much we couldn't tell. This could be a virgin passage.
Nice.
Obviously, no one has passed through this route. But there could be a way into the passage from the other side. To even get to the crawl space, we would have to enlarge the opening. Currently, it's about the size of my fist.
Nice.
Once we get past the opening, we could have a tight crawl back to where it opened up. It would take some work, but we thought we could do it. We sat down for a few minutes to rest and contemplate our plan of attack. While we sat there in the darkness, we could hear the wind howling from the other side of the passage. It was a low, eerie noise. We could also hear a low rumble from time to time. No big deal, though. The cave is in the vicinity of a highway that has very heavy trucks drive on it. We figured the rumble was the effect of the trucks resonating through the rocks. Yeah, I'm gonna keep my light on for this.
Also, like that fucking the light thing might be just because like we've specifically been making jokes about holes was just.
No, it's just like as I was reading this and then it was like talking about weird noises and being in darkness, I was like, I am suddenly uncomfortable.
But yeah, like my immediate thought was just like fucking shoving a small work light up there. Babe, get the book light.
Ooh. Ooh.
His pussy about to glow.
Get some light up condoms.
You have a lightsaber battle.
Damn right.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, it makes sense that someone would assume that like the rumbling sound was like cars driving overhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the thing I don't like is being. I don't like the idea of being underground.
Yeah. No, okay, well, correction. All right, so I don't mind. Like, I would never want to explore a cave like what they're doing. But, like, I don't mind because I've actually been a few times and I actually want to go back and explore more. Like, Carlsbad Cavern, stuff like that.
Yeah,
where everything's planned out. And
I've been to, Cave of the Mounds in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, like, this series of, like, small caves. I've been under the Hoover Dam.
I don't mind going into areas that have already been plotted out by other people.
Yeah. But it's the whole thing of, like, it was like in a canyon or something like that, I'm technically below ground level, but at the same time, I'm, like, out in the open and I can climb.
Yes.
Just being in a hole underground, like, no contact with anyone, just...
Yeah, no.
I don't like that.
And honestly, I think that's probably what scared me most about that movie more than the actual creatures themselves. Is like most of the movie, they were underground in caves, and I was like, nope.
Well, yeah, like that's what made The Descent work. Is like that whole like claustrophobic feeling because there's like moments of like them being like one of them having like trying to get through a narrow passage and like almost getting stuck and shit like that. To rewatch that. We determined that our best plan would be to haul a cordless drill into the cave to drill into the rock. Then we could take a bullpen and a small sledgehammer and break up the rock. It seemed pretty straightforward. We would widen the hole big enough to squeeze in and see what was on the other side. Efforts to haul all the equipment down to the hole would be a pain, but we hoped it would be worth it. I named the passage Floyd's Tomb after Floyd Collins. It seemed like it seemed to look like the tight spot where Floyd spent his last miserable days on Earth. Yeah, I fucking heard about the whole Floyd Collins thing. That one was fucking terrifying.
Floyd Collins thing. I've never heard of that.
It gives some context, but if memory serves, he basically got stuck in a cave upside down.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so the whole thing is as they were trying to get him out, he ended up dying because of, like, the position he was in. Because it was a narrow passageway that he went into, and he was like, I can't turn around, I can't go backwards, so I'm going to keep going forward, and then it went down. And so he got stuck, like, vertical.
No,
upside down. And
no, thank you.
That's how he died.
That's terrible.
I might be thinking the wrong person, of course, but...
Well, either way, that's still a terrible thing to think about.
Yeah. My brain is full of terrible things to think about.
That's a mood.
Oh, God. Ah.
What did you do?
Oh. You ever have that moment where you just, like, cough up, like a condensed packet of phlegm?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I exhaled and all of a sudden, like, that popped into my mouth, and it was like,
Let's see.
Oh. Yours is the blue.
Oh, yeah, it says Floyd Collins was a caver back in the early 1900s. He got stuck in a tight crawl space and was able to unfree himself. It is an amazing story that is detailed in the book called Trapped, the story of Floyd Collins. I think that was the title. I don't recall the author. Calling your passage Floyd's Tomb was not only a tribute to Floyd, but a commentary to the size of the passage. So, let's see here.
Yeah, unable to frame like that. Because if memory serves, like, technically didn't die alone because, like, people managed to find him and they were trying to get him out. And that was when he died.
Hold on, I'm trying to...
What? What are you doing?
I'm reading about him right now.
Oh, you're looking it up?
Yeah.
In retrospect, it is funny how simple I thought it was going to be. I figured a few hours work and we would be in. Had I known how long it would take, I doubt I would have even begun the project. Had I known what I was going to experience in the cave, I never would have returned. We gathered up our gear and headed for the surface. Normally, I couldn't care less if I ever came back to this cave. Nothing special about it. But now I was psyched about getting back and getting through. We hadn't even left the cave and we were planning our return trip. I just read both the paragraphs. Yeah, I did. Whoops, my bad.
Yeah, no, this guy apparently just got... He got stuck and fucking... So it's not the guy that you were talking about. No, this guy got stuck into a passage that he was working on. And when he went to go leave, he didn't clear stuff away properly. And so he basically got buried alive, if I read this correctly.
Oh. Okay, because I'm pretty sure I'm thinking about, like, an actual person, so I feel the need to,
yeah, let me see what else I can find out.
John Jones. That's right. It was John Jones. Because he died in a cave called Nutty Putty. Yeah, he was 28 hours he was stuck there. He was stuck there for 28 hours. This was in 2009. Okay.
Yeah, no, apparently he had been stuck for he'd been stuck for about 30-ish hours.
Oh.
And they managed to let's see here. No. Okay, so at this point, hold on. See, he was stuck. See, hour 48. Talking about the rescue.
Fuck, I forgot about that part of the whole thing,
See
too.
here.
Like, based on
Oh
what
my
it's
god!
saying,
He was. Let's see here. Okay.
like, based on the statement, Floyd was there for a few days.
Yeah, he was there for a few days, and the first person that was actually able to get to him was like some reporter that just wanted a story, and he was only the small enough.
Oh.
He's apparently fucking small enough to get down there.
Fucking hell.
Let's see. Da-da-da.
John Jones was a spelunker, and part of the whole thing is that the section he got stuck in was too narrow for him to be pulled out without breaking his legs.
Oh, so it was losing his foot. Like his foot was trapped, and they were like, "Well, we can pull you out the rope,
okay.
but you would probably lose your foot." And he was like, "I
So
don't fucking care. Pull me out."
Floyd's foot was trapped. Fine.
Yeah.
So Floyd did get out, or he died?
Hold on, I'm trying to figure this out right
based
now.
on the sound of
Let's
that,
see.
because
Let's see. They strapped the harness around the person's chest, so it was gonna help him. Dude went down. Hugged.
it's like based on what the author right here just said, like seemed like a tight spot where Floyd last spent his last miserable days on Earth. That makes it sound like he died there.
See, hour 88. Well, they ended up not being able to pull him out because the way it was trapped, and he was screaming at them to not.
Okay.
So
he died. He died there.
I'm thinking about it. Hold on, I'm trying to like. They're just like, oh my god, this is like so. Hour 103, February 3rd. Let's see.
100 and that is over 4 days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, anyway. Oh fuck, the John Jones one. Only a few would squeeze down the narrow tunnel no bigger than the opening of a washing machine.
Wow.
That is just yeah, cuz like he got stuck head down, like upside down in the thing. Let's see. Exploring the Nutty Putty Cave for the first time on November 24th, 2009, John Jones became trapped upside down when he wriggled headfirst into a
No
narrow,
guard showed up.
unmapped tunnel of the cave. Search and rescue teams worked for 26 hours to free him, but the shape of the crevice where John was trapped became one of the biggest obstacles. The narrow crack split almost straight down, so when crews tried to pull John out, his feet hit the tunnel's low ceiling. Pulling him backwards would break his legs, the shock of which could prove fatal as John suffered the effects of being upside down. Because, like, the body's not supposed to do that. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, you ready to read your line? Or I
Yeah,
guess
what was
the
the
line
ride?
after the... You'd be starting with the last blue line because I ended up reading
Oh.
your line on
Oh.
reflex.
Let's see. The rest of the journal entries talked about the climb out of the cave, our dinner, and trip back home.
I guess it makes sense that he wouldn't really put that as part of the thing.
Yeah. Let's
But yeah,
see.
so we have two terrifying cave things that we just fucking looked into. On top of this, Lloyd Collins and John Jones. I do not like the idea of being that far away from any form of contact. That far down. Like, it's weird. Like, you throw me in the middle of the woods, like, okay, yeah, I might be eaten by a wild animal, but my anxiety is not as fucking peaked as, like, in a cave. And I don't know how to explain that. I think, like, at least with an animal, it'll probably eat me. You know? So, at least something's happening with my body. It's not just sitting in a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Just nothing living interacting with it for years. You know?
Yeah.
Alright, January 27th to 27 and 28, 2001. Which this would be work begins. B and I were both excited to get back into the cave and get to work. I figured with about 4 hours work, we could be in and see what was on the other side. We had arranged to borrow a DeWalt cordless drill to bring with us. We also had masonry bits to drill with, sledgehammers too to break up the rock, bullpens to insert into the drill holes, and a few other tools that we ended up not using. Getting the tools down to the work site proved to be a challenge. One of us would climb down the rope and stop at a ledge or good resting place, and the other person would lower the tools. We kept repeating this routine until we got to the bottom of the cave. Then we had to drag the tools to the hole. It took about an hour to finally get to work. Oh fucking hell! My eye feels so dry right now.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure it's like a fucking allergy thing. Like
Yeah.
it's that time of year. My
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
allergies are flaring up, and so it's like, oh, I need to rub my eyes. And now I just flash back to the thought of Hawaii's old leper colonies. Okay.
Jesus shit.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Let's see here. Uh,
Are you still looking at the Floyd Collins thing?
no, I stubbed my toe.
Sitting down?
Yeah, I'm special like that.
Impressive. And I thought I was.
Let's see.
I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase it that's not spirited. I'm failing.
Let's see here. B took the first turn at the hole. Giggity.
Oh my.
Um,
Running a train on it, I see.
yeah. And let's see here. After an hour of exhausting work, we could tell that we were not going to get through in one session. We kept trading off after we worked ourselves into a sweat. One would take a break and get some food and water while the other one went to work.
I mean, hey, sometimes you have to tag out and tag in. Routine went like
Oh.
this. To begin work, we had to get down on our knees, oh my, and do our best to avoid smacking our heads on the ceiling. Working in this awkward position, we could drill into the wall around the hole. That was difficult work. We had to push on the drill, and it was still slow progress. Then we inserted the bullpen into the hole and hammered on it until the rock broke up. Then we repeat the To give you an idea of how slow it was, a typical size rock that would break off, finger. Oh. If we broke off a large piece, a third of the size of my palm, it was cause for. So this is some fucking tough shit.
A little bit.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, there you are.
Okay. It's your line.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. From time to time, for variety, we would just wail on a cold chisel with a 5-pound lead sledge. It was a slow process. The problem with the sledge was that we couldn't take a good swing because of the tight quarters. But apparently,
Yeah.
Floyd Collins was trapped
Uh-huh.
for 17 days underground, 12 without food or
Oh my.
water, and 4 without heat-giving light. By the time they found him on the 17th day, they estimated that he'd probably been dead since the 14th day.
Fuck.
Yeah. Because they kept being able to get down there to him, but then they just kept having problems getting that rock off his foot, because it was like a fucking boulder on his foot.
Yeah.
And then stuff would like collapse around them, and then they'd have to like dig.
Re-find him.
Yeah.
Hell. Anyway.
So, don't go in caves, kiddos.
Something I just realized that is weird.
Hmm.
My brain is interpreting like the white text as further ahead than the blue text. Like the blue text, my brain is like having sunken in, so it's creating this weird 3D effect with my eyes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So it's literally like white text raised, blue text like lowered, and then the white text raised again.
That's weird.
Yeah. I don't know if you're seeing this too or not.
Yeah, no, it seems that way too to me, which is one
Yeah.
of the reasons why I was like, I don't like this.
Even though we spent many hours and several trips, my brain read that as faps, and I don't know what to think about that.
Several faps later.
Several faps in that hole. Wait,
Oh
I think if you're fapping in the hole, you're doing it wrong. How are you getting your hand in there?
boy.
I don't think you're supposed to be able to fit both your. Anyway, working on the hole, we never did find a better technique for widening the hole. You gotta talk dirty to it sometimes. Never gonna get that proper wide on if you don't put the work in. The drill, bullpen, hammer got the best results of our efforts. We came up with some crazy ideas for breaking the rock. Everything from TNT, never seriously considered, to hauling a generator to the mouth of the cave and running an extension cord down to a jackhammer. I think the jackhammer might actually be even harder because, like, you'd have to hold that horizontal.
Yeah, I just would have given up by this point. I'd be like, yeah, it's not worth it. Fuck it. Bye.
We even thought about using liquid nitrogen to freeze the rock and make it more brittle.
That's not how that works.
Technically, it kind of is.
Not how that works. Anyways, after a couple. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
It's just a whole thing of whether or not that thing being frozen would make it more brittle. It kind of depends on the substance.
Yeah, I don't really think that would work with rock.
It doesn't work with frogs. There are
What?
frogs that There are frogs that freeze solid during hibernation, and if you drop one, they don't shatter. They just kind of tunk.
Okay. For a second, that made it seem like you were just freezing frogs with liquid nitrogen.
What kind of monster do you think I am?
I don't know.
I think Mythbusters though did test the whole liquid nitrogen thing using like a rotisserie chicken.
Oh, well then.
It didn't shatter. I think it bounced. Actually.
Okay then. Anyways, after a couple hours of hard work, we realized what our limiting factor was going to be. It was
Low
about
ceiling?
then that our first battery met an abrupt death. We had a second battery, so we swapped them out. The second battery lasted a little longer because we hammered and chiseled a little bit more often and a little longer each time. Finally, after about 3 hours of drudgery, the second battery died, and we called it a night. Woo. Woo! We could tell that it was... we could tell that we had done some work in the cave. But it was not much. For the first time since we got to the cave, we sat back, both of us took a break. It was nice to check out the results of our hard work. Then we noticed the howling again.
Oh.
I don't like this. It seemed to be a little louder than the last time we were there. We just figured the wind was blowing a little stronger outside. What we could not figure out was the rumbling. It too seemed to be louder and more frequent. This time we cannot attribute the noise to trucks. The road that the trucks drove on was not very busy to begin with. At that time of night, it should be dead. Ugh! Yet the rumbling continued. It seemed to be coming from deep within the passage. B said he would ask some veteran cavers what could be causing the noise.
Yep, you got cave wolves.
The hell?
What? What is it? Hello?
I'm confused. I don't know if that's just the shadows in the hole, but it looks like there's something in the hole, and I don't like that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure there's something in the hole. I don't like that. It looks like a fucking figure.
My lamp's not enough for this. My lamp's not enough for this.
I don't think Spider-Man's head's plugged in, so I can't turn that on.
I'm sleeping with the lights on tonight.
I had to unplug it to charge the Switch.
Ooh, that's what she said.
What? I don't think you use a Switch for that. Or if you just really want to play Smash Bros. Or like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, baby, that's what's up.
Is this not actually a sex thing and she's just a gamer girl?
Yes.
Ah. Understandable. Have a nice day. We didn't spend a long time admiring our work. After all, Mother Nature takes a bit more than 2 fingers. We still had to haul the gear up and out of the cave. Actually, we left some of it in the cave.
That's stupid.
And I guess it makes sense if they're planning on coming back. It was still difficult work. What made it worse was that we were both exhausted. Yeah, makes sense. Our original plan was to be done with this cave and hit a couple other caves in the area the next day. Instead, we decided to crash at a nearby motel, charge up the drill batteries, and go back to the mystery cave. It's also worth mentioning that he stated that the pictures were taken with a disposable camera, meaning that he wouldn't have been able to see the photos when he took them, but only once they got developed.
That doesn't make me feel better.
Yeah, which means that the whole thing of like that apparent figure in the hole that might be there, might be. would be something that he wouldn't have been able to see until he got developed.
Because the way it looks is it looks like the skin of something. Like fur or something? I don't fucking know.
Oh.
I don't like it.
Something about the shadows in there make me uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess good on you. You get the blue.
Yes, I know. My journal goes on at length about the night after we left the cave. We got a room, dinner was excellent, I didn't sleep good despite the fact that I was exhausted, etc. We both slept in so we could get a late start back into the cave. The second day working on the cave went about the same as the first. We worked until both batteries were dead again. We were still not even close to getting through. The howling and rumbling continued as the day before.
Cave wolves. Telling you got cave wolves. Alright. On caving. Before I continue... God damn, everything loading in. Holy shit. Before I continue with the next journal entry, I thought it would be helpful to the reader to explain a little bit about caving and about the atmosphere in the cave. As I reread and think about my description of the cave, I notice much of the language I use in my caving journal and the descriptions, or lack thereof, assume that the reader has a knowledge of cavings and that this is what it is like inside the cave. In other words, I write the journals for me. Makes sense.
Yep. I apparently made my toe bleed when I stubbed it earlier.
Ow?
Yeah.
You okay?
I don't know. It hurts.
I imagine so, babe.
Ow.
I will take this time to give a more detailed description of the cave. I will tell about what it was like while we worked on the cave, and I will summarize our feelings up to this point.
Let's see.
Don't you call me a hussy?
I said, let's see. God. Alright. Anyways. The cave was discovered several decades ago when construction in the area unearthed its entrance. From that time to the present, it has been visited by mostly locals in the area and avid cavers in the region. Beer cans can be found intermittently in the cave, mostly in the upper half. When the cave was first entered, it was probably beautiful. Dust, graffiti, vandals, pigeons, and regular use have diminished its appeal. Fair enough. There are still places in the cave where small formations remain undisturbed, as a reminder of what the rest of the cave used to look like.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Those damn cave pigeons ruining everything.
Yeah, it's always the damn cave pigeons.
To enter the cave, one must have a good length of rope in order to rappel down into the rock. On a nearby tree serves as a good anchor point. Once the rope is tied to the tree, about 20 feet away from a small cliff, it can be tossed over the edge of the cliff to a small ledge 15 feet below. Cavers can then descend the short distance to the entrance. Once inside the cave, artificial light must be used. Yeah. No surprise there. My light source of choice is a battery-operated helmet-mounted light known as a TAG light. TAG. Safe caving calls for at least 2 sources of backup lighting. For my backup lighting, I have a mini-mag light mounted on my helmet and another helmet-mounted light in my pack, which I always carry with me. I also have glow sticks that I carry with me. These are not considered good light sources of backup light, or good sources of backup light. Please be patient with me, I'm tired. Yeah, glow sticks are not a great source of light. By some, but they are good use for taking lunch breaks. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And they could be used to get out of a cave if other sources fail. Yeah, because that's the whole thing with glow sticks, is that they don't illuminate a lot, but they can be seen from quite a ways.
Yeah.
as someone who has accidentally cracked one open and just gotten a whole bunch of people with glow stick fluid at one point, I can definitely tell you that that shit is visible.
Hmm. Yeah, let's see.
You okay?
Yeah. I don't know, it just flashed me back to like years ago when me and my friends decided to have a Homestuck photo shoot and used glow stick fluid to make troll blood splatters.
Okay, blood splatters. Okay, that's okay.
Cause yeah.
Yeah.
Um so back in high school, so like 2012, 13, something like that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
After.
Yeah. Yeah. After a short climb over large rocks, the caver comes to a large pit. Same rope is used to reach the bottom of the pit. The drop is only 50 feet or so, but it's not free hanging. In other words, you can't slide straight down the rope, which is preferable. You have to snake your way around sharp rocks as you descend. The ascent is made more difficult for the same reason. The pit varies in diameter from
Yeah.
about 10 feet to 3 or 4 in a few places. The walls are lined with sharp white rock called popcorn.
Oh,
Let me correct that.
I've seen that before.
It used to be white, but it is now covered with dust and dirt that was kicked down from above by years of caving. The popcorn makes it painful to brush against the side of the pit. My choice of clothing is Levi's t-shirt, gloves, and knee pads. I usually leave the cave with a few scrapes, but at least I'm comfortable while I climb around inside. Fair enough. The temperature is stable year-round. It feels cool in the summer and warm in the winter. We have gone in on freezing days, and 10 feet into the cave, it is warm enough that coats are not needed. It is a good temperature to work in, as we learned.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things about caves is that they also tend to get like hotter as you keep going. I mean, okay, it makes sense why they do that, but it's still a little surreal
Yeah.
because you're getting deeper and deeper into the earth and shit. Ow, fucking knuckle. I accidentally cut it open at work.
You okay?
Yeah, right hand's just in a bit of pain. Ended up doing that to two of my knuckles on that hand. Yeah, not fun. For this size drop, I usually use a figure-8 descending device. For the climb, I attach myself to the rope using a Petzl ascender, but I climb down on my own without using the device. It is there merely as a safety attachment in case I slip. Alright. Other cavers have their own methods of getting down and up. At the bottom of the drop, the caver gets to do some crawling for a while. There is a small room, about 6 by 6 feet, at the bottom of the cave. At the bottom, that gives the caver a spot to leave his harness and ascending gear. Since there is no more steep, no more steep drops, the harness is not needed and will only get in the way.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. Once the caver gets down to the 6 by 6 room, he can take a break under a ledge while the rest of the party comes down. Then he must drop to his knees to negotiate a 10-foot long passage that is only a few feet high. This is where the knee pads come in handy. The floor is covered with soft dirt intermingled with bits of broken rock from above. The thin
Ow.
layer of dirt does nothing to soften the blow to the hands and knees as the caver works down the crawl space. As a reward, at the end of the crawl, he gets to drop to his belly and scoot over a tight squeeze. Not really tight, just something low enough to make the caver scoot along in the dirt.
Yep. Yeah, like, ooey. Again, there's a reason I like climbing more than, like, going down. You don't have to deal with that stuff as much with climbing.
Yeah.
Once the caver gets... Well,
sorry, no, I'm good.
Okay, once the caver gets to the other side of the squeeze, there are a few feet of crawl space. Then the cave opens up enough to stand. For most of the rest of the caver can stand or at least stoop. The cave splits off into several passages. Two routes wind around.
Give me a sec.
Wind around rocks is apparent. Two routes wind around rocks. There we go. Enjoy yourself?
Yeah.
Two routes wind around rock. Wind. I can't even reproduce how I said wind there. Two routes wind around rocks and crevices and come to abrupt dead ends. The other two lead to small pools of water. Each route is fun to explore. They all lead on for a few hundred feet or so in a gradual downward slope. Most of the time, the caver can walk upright in the passages. Other times, he will have to climb over large boulders and occasionally crawl on hands and knees.
Hands and knees.
See. Play your cards right, I'll be on my hands and knees. Okay there, Michael Jackson.
God damn it, that's the second time that I've laughed like that tonight and been called Michael Jackson. The first time was in the Among Us group. Anyways, let's see.
Water.
Yeah, no, I know where I'm at. It's just, that my headset sometimes makes my ears itchy. So I was scratching my ears. Let's see. Water is a common occurrence in caves. I've been told that one of the local residents was one of the first people in the cave, and that his cousin dove into the pools using scuba gear. He said the cave continued down for a couple hundred feet underwater. What they were hoping for, and what happens frequently, is that the passage comes up somewhere else, with virgin cave passages to explore.
Wants to get all up in them virgin caves.
Oh yeah, all day, every day.
I don't know, I prefer a cave that knows what it's doing. Unfortunately, I don't possess the knowledge to give more detail about the types of rock in the cave. When we were drilling, we would have some parts that were easier to drill than others, and there were different colors in the rock, referred to photos taken in the cave. But that is the best I can do to describe the makeup of the cave. Alright.
See. At the point the cave splits into the four routes, the two passages that dead end are to the immediate left of the caver. Straight ahead and to the right are the passages that lead to the pools of water. The entrance to the passage on the right is the largest of the four. The arched opening rises nearly 10 feet in the air, ending a mere foot below the cave ceiling. As the caver enters the passage, the ceiling gradually lowers until it's about 6 feet high. It continues at the same height for the 40 feet that the passage travels in the continuous direction. The section of cave resembles a hard rock mine. Its arch nearly perfect and the floor flat and easy to walk on. It's easy to picture rusty mine cars on rail lines and dust-covered miners with blistered hands gripping dull picks. The pseudo-mine comes to an end and the caver is once again forced to drop to hands and knees and get reacquainted with the floor of the cave. This time the crawl lasts about 20 feet. The floor is sloping gently downward for the first half of the crawl. Then it gets fairly steep and slippery. Able-bodied climbers can still climb carefully down the slippery slope. When I go with B, I carry the end of the rope that we used to get to this point. I usually need to tie another short length of rope to the first rope to make sure that he can use it to reach the bottom. The
He's a
crawl
bit short.
the crawl lasts a few feet beyond the bottom of the slide. Over the next 10 to 12 feet, the caver slowly begins to regain standing position.
Thought just popped into my head. One of the whole things with minerals is that the harder they are, as in like the more resistant to scratching they are, typically the easier to fracture they are.
Interesting.
For instance, like diamonds can fracture relatively easily, despite how hard they are. Now, if we're talking about something with like a similar consistency to glass, we would be talking silica, which would be most types of quartz, as well as like flint and all that. But again, that would be something that would be more liable to fracture whenever you're trying to get through it. So I'm wondering what the material of the cave around that hole is. You know?
Yeah.
That's just like the part of me that understands like basic geology. Like, I wonder. Because I think based on those photos, it looked more like a form of sandstone. But most caves are actually limestone, because what happens is the water dissolving the rock and forming like various, like a certain type of acid, I do believe,
Mm-hmm.
that eats through it. And so, like, that's what creates the cave. I don't know. Food for thought.
Good for that.
After walking a few feet down and climbing down a short drop off, the caver arrives at a small level area that has a passage leading down immediately to the left. Passage ends 75 feet later at one of the small bodies of water. To the right is a rock wall. Straight ahead is an indentation in the wall that goes back about 3 feet. On the wall at the rear of the indent is a small hole about the size of a softball. Wow, I am fucking tired right now. I fucking stumbled on softball. 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 To get near the hole, the caver ducks under an overhang and kneels upon the rocks that rise above the floor by a few inches. By the time the caver reaches this point, he is either warm or sweating, and the first thing he notices is the cool breeze. Not cruel bees. Not the cruel bees blowing out of the hole. The cool breeze blowing out of the hole. It is my recognition of this hole that has a potential doorway to unexplored portions of the cave that ultimately led to this telling of my experience. Holy crap, I am tired.
I'm tired. I'm drunk.
You're high drunk, I'm dad.
Let's see. As has been my tradition for all the years I have been caving, the party reaches a point in the cave, usually at the deepest part of the cave, that all lights are extinguished. Complete blackness fills the eyes. For a moment, the individual caver strains the eye muscles, focusing in and out with the expectation of catching a crumb of light somewhere in the false night. Poetic.
Hey, that rhymes.
After several futile moments, the caver turns his head at a sound, perhaps another caver, only to have the other senses return and then heighten. The sounds, smells, and feelings that have been overlooked to this point come racing to the caver in perfect detail. The pain of their own behind sitting on the cave floor, the smell of dust, sweat, and guano. For anybody who doesn't know what guano is, it's batshit.
Yes.
You're welcome.
I think it can be used to refer to like excrement of other animals, but it's typically used to refer to bats. Like, I think certain birds it's also referred to as guano.
I've only ever heard it referred for bats, so I don't know. Either way, you're smelling shit.
Rude. I smell lovely.
I didn't say you smell like shit. I just said if you're in a cave and you smell guano, you're smelling shit.
Mountains of it.
The sound of modern materials shifting on an age-old rock as cavers attempt to find comfort on this solid foundation. At the back
Quite
of
the
every
literal pain in
caver's
my ass.
at the back of every caver's mind at this time is, what if? What if a person had to climb out of the cave with no light? Would he make it? Would he find all the turns and bends which got him to this place? If not, would a rescue party find him in time? Okay.
Well. That's not... Well.
Well then.
The depth of darkness recognized at this time is something that is rarely experienced outside a cave. Wow, that... Have I ever heard any of these words before? Apparently not. Many first-time cavers erroneously declare that they have to hold hands to within 2 to 3 inches of their face before they can see it. The truth is, the human eye is incapable of seeing in an absence of light. If they did not hear something coming towards them, they would feel it before they saw it. Complete and total dark. This exercise is a great way to remind people to take backup lighting. Yeah, like, doing that, like, it's less that you're seeing your hand and more that you're just kind of sensing your hand.
Straight up, if somebody decided to try to scare me in that situation, they'd be seeing my hand in their face.
You're a violent little thing, aren't you?
I don't do well being scared. My reaction to being scared is either to, like, flail and puff myself up, run, or punch. There is no in between. Sometimes I do all three. Sometimes I puff up, punch, and then run. Anyways.
Anyway.
As we proceed to work in the cave, we developed a system pretty early and a little changed in succeeding trips. The first time into the cave, B took first shift at chipping away at the opening. After about a half hour, he needed a break, so I took over. He told me what worked best, and I continued doing the same. We would try new things from time to time, use new muscles, but usually stuck to the same method. We would use the masonry bit and press on the drill as hard as we could and drill the hole in the rock. Safety glasses and dust masks were worn while working. Then we would insert the bullpen and hammer into the rock and break out small chunks of the cave. Then we would drill another hole and repeat the process. Occasionally, the drill would hit a soft spot in the rock, and that step would be shortened. We would work until we became too tired to continue, then B and I would trade.
Alright. Again, like, I am wondering, like, because specifically stating of how weirdly obstinate the rock is.
Yeah.
Which is making me wonder what's up with it. Because that makes it seem, like, immediately makes me think that this is likely like a whole supernatural type thing.
Yeah.
While one of us was working, the other would remain in darkness and either eat or drink, or just lay down on the cave floor padded by rope bags. After a few rotations, we were tired enough to catch a nap while taking our break. The only light we used was the helmet light on the head of the worker. Since it was pointed towards the hole, the resting person was left mostly in the dark. This was a welcome benefit since the resting person was usually, well, resting. The rest break was also a chance to cool down a bit, which didn't take long in the cooler temperature of the cave. Fortunately, the temperature of the cave allowed us to work pretty hard and not overheat much. That's nice.
I remember that I frequently looked at the hole and thought, hey, it's big enough. I think I can squeeze through, only to be disappointed in my attempt. However, even after the first attempt and failure, I knew that I would keep working on the hole until I got through. This despite the fact that I knew it would take many more hours of hard work. It had actually become an obsession with me. I tried to get out of the cave and work as often as I could. I hoped that the passage led to a larger undiscovered cave that we'd be the first ones to enter. I guess the explorer in me wanted to find a new frontier there in the cave. Since B is such an avid caver, he was motivated by the same desire to find a new unexplored cave. What we did find was not at all what I expected.
And unfortunately, that's where we're going to have to leave this one. Because it's been about an hour, and honestly, I am probably on the verge of passing out.
Yeah.
I don't know how tired you are, Ichi-Tan. But
50-50.
Holding back yawns like the entire time. I didn't succeed with that one.
No, you did not.
Anyway, special thank you to Summer Moon Soldier and Destiny Bear for supporting us on Patreon. If you like what we do and like to support us in any way, then consider going down to that link in the description and pledging any amount of money you want to us. Barring that, usual YouTube shit. I don't need to tell you how to do that shit. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. You know how to click buttons.
Do I?
I don't know, do you? With that, I'm Llytic.
I'm Ichi-Tan.
And this has been What Are We Reading? This Spooptober Pastathon for 2020. So